That was to end the game on a... Oh, God.
Wow, that ball is absolutely destroyed by Miguel Vargas into the second deck.
Hello and welcome to Sox and Friends, your weekly source for Chicago White Sox updates, content, and breaking news. And connecting you, the White Sox fans, directly with other fans throughout Chicago and the world. This week, we'll review the week of White Sox baseball, which included the All-Star break, and then they were in Toronto. And then we also have some updates from down on the farm. We'll talk about some MLB trade deadline stuff coming up as we are 2 weeks away from the deadline, and it's a pretty crazy bunch of teams that are packed in, and there's going to be some decisions that have to be made over the next week to 10 days leading up to those 2 weeks. And then we'll also look at the week ahead. But before getting into it, follow Thomas Alessio on Threads for any direct game in-the-moment updates, daily lineups, fun facts, and conversations. Sox and Friends on Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube for alerts and for weekly episode drops. So this past week, All-Star Weekend, as we talked about the last episode, White Sox ended up getting some representation in the All-Star game and into the Home Run Derby with Murakami. He was in the Home Run Derby. Got nine home runs in the first round. One home run would have got him in the second round with Jordan Walker ended up winning that derby, but really good showing for Murakami there. All-Star game, AL wins. Vargas, huge home run, as you saw at the beginning of this episode. An absolute bomb. Really cool for him to hit off a former Dodgers teammate as well. Murakami and Peters also got in, so a really good All-Star weekend for the Sox. Really showed out, including coming off the draft with a drafted Rock Chalowski in the first round and getting him signed. A really exciting week going into play in the second half, where they were in Toronto, winning 2 out of 3, which is a great way to start the second half. For multiple episodes the last couple of weeks, we've talked about them being a young team and needing to be better on the road. You go into Toronto, yes, they're not having the greatest year this season, but there's still a lot of talent on that team. You go in, 12-4 win in Game 1. You lose one in Game 2 to Shane Bieber, which he seems like he always has the Sox number. And then you come in and you win 3-0 in the last game of the series, and you win a road series to start the second half before you go into Texas. Big series for Braden Montgomery, 5 RBIs in the series, and just continuing to say the same things, which in a good way. Sean Burke continues to get better and better. In Game 3, he lowered his ERA to 3.2. He went 6 2/3, no earned. He actually hasn't given up more than 2 runs in a start since June 13th versus the Dodgers. Has been amazing for the last month and a half. And it's really just started him. He's throwing a lot more first pitch strikes, which has helped him incredibly. And in July, 19 2/3 innings. He has 25 Ks in those, and he has an ERA under 1 in July. So as I said, they go into Toronto. They win a road series to start the second half. So as of Sunday, going into this week, since that was only 3 games that week with the All-Star break, White Sox are sitting 1 game ahead of the Guardians, still followed up by the Twins, Detroit, and the Royals. Not gaining a lot, not pulling away too much, but you still are a game above the Guardians. You have some teams like the Twins and the Tigers are still kind of sticking around. I mean, if the Sox were a little bit farther ahead, you wouldn't be thinking about them as much, but they are within striking distance. You have 1 bad week, and they're very close. So going ahead, we have more games with the Guardians. There's games with the Twins and Detroit coming up. So this could definitely change, and we could see a lot of shifting over the next couple weeks, especially with the All-Star break. So big things coming ahead. But before we go into that trade deadline, let's go down and see what's going on in AAA. There's a couple of players here I do want to talk about. One that may help the Sox and their Major League roster this year, and one that may be someone that helps them increase their big league roster with them obviously being part of a trade. So Tanner McDougal, he was hurt. He's come back. He was starting previous year. He's come back to work in the bullpen in AAA. Since his return from injury, he's pitched three innings this week without giving up a run. This could be someone that the Sox look from within to help out this bullpen. There's been some guys going up and down two or three slots outside of some of your high leverage guys, and Tanner McDougal may be a guy that comes in August or September to help solidify that bullpen as they make a playoff push. Billy Carlson, he's your 2025 first-round pick. He had a hand injury. He's come back. In his 5 games this past week, he had hits in 4 of them, and he had multiple hits in two of those games. So coming back hitting, and as I said, while Tanner McDougal may help the Major League team in person, Billy Carlson may be someone that the Sox use to increase their chances this past year. Saying that, we need to talk about the trade deadline. Because we're talking about prospects where, as I just talked about Billy Carlson, I don't think he's an untouchable. And once we're going into that August 3rd trade deadline, there's 3 untouchables that I do think the Sox are not going to trade from. And it's Caleb Bonner, Brady Montgomery, Tanner McDougal, I do think is an untouchable. And Noah Schultz and Hagen Smith. I think Noah Schultz is more untouchable than Hagen Smith. I think if they get the right deal, Hagen Smith could be part of a deal. I do think just from a control aspect and a ceiling aspect, Hagen Smith would take a lot for what you're getting in return. That's probably going to be a multiple-year controllable pitcher that you get back to get rid of Hagen Smith. But I think he is trending more on the untouchable part as of right now. Saying that, there are areas in this minor league roster and in the farm system that they can trade from strength within that system. They have a gluttony right now of good middle infielders. Kyle Lotus, who's your 8th overall prospect. Burley Jr., he's your 9th overall prospect. You have a bunch of guys you see here, but the one, as we've talked about, Billy Carlson, could be a guy that could be traded for a controllable piece. I'm not talking about a rental for a couple seasons. I'm not talking about maybe someone who has an option for 2027. I mean, a multiple-year controllable pitcher. He could be packaged in to possibly get you a starter going into the playoff stretch. He's their number 4 prospect, the 2025 first-round pick. As we talked about, he's coming back. He's hitting well. That could be a guy that they could see as part of a trade, especially with Rock Chalowski and Tommy's kid being drafted. Their priorities on their list of prospects have kind of changed over the past year. But before we go into who they might target and who they may give up, there's some things we do need to go through because this AL Central race is super tight, and it's changed over the past week. Before, there was probably some guys that would have been made available. I'm talking about the Red Sox. But the Red Sox have been on an absolute tear, and they're now in the thick of it to make the playoffs. And there's no way that someone like Sonny Gray or Chapman are going anywhere. There's other teams like the Tigers, the Astros, the Twins, the Orioles. Yeah, they're back in their divisions, but they're within all 5 to 5.5 games, down towards 3 games in the wild card hunt. Maybe some of them pull a flag and they do get rid of some people, but you're not going to see a bunch of those teams just giving up and getting rid of guys. And I do want to say this, seeing a bunch of people throwing out trades, trading is not like MLB The Show. There is a market for pitchers, there is a market for high-level pitching, and bunch of teams throughout the MLB want pitching, and so it's not just you throwing out some random prospects and getting something back. I've seen too many trades or trade ideas thrown from random people on the internet about giving up something random for a big arm that would help you down the stretch. You realize this is not MLB The Show. Both teams have to agree to a deal. Some of these trades being thrown out aren't even ever going to happen. So let's just keep that in mind. So let's look at what the Sox need, what they can give up, and where those two things really mesh. Because they are going to be bidding against other people. One thing they're going to need, they need another starting pitcher. You have Davis Martin, Sean Burke, and Anthony Kay. Anthony Kay's been great against lefties this year. Those are three guys that you could see in a playoff bullpen. Noah Schultz is a rookie, and Fedde probably cannot be your number 4 starter in a playoff rotation. One other issue here is career inning totals highs for some of these pitchers that the Sox have. Davis Martin, his career high is 142. Sean Burks is 134. And Anthony Kay's career high is 93, and that will be this year with the Sox, and it was 155 in Japan. So right now, your three starting pitchers that you see pitching a playoff series have had one season where they've thrown more than 125 to 150 innings. You need a veteran pitcher. Because as you've seen with the Brewers and Mizrachi, he's had to be taken back a little bit. It's a long season, and some of these guys have never thrown this much in a season before. And it's not even August. We're just getting to August, and now we have 2 more months, and then the playoffs. So starting pitching is a thing that the Sox need to get. I would say bullpen as well. Bullpen's been a lot better recently. Dominguez is throwing more strikes. He's obviously not in high situations or multiple high-level situations right now. But Hicks has been throwing the ball great. Newcomb, Taylor, and a few others have really stepped up their game. So as we talked about a little bit ago, McDougal could be a guy that comes in. If they don't trade Hagen Smith, maybe he comes in September, throws some innings out of the bullpen as well, really help solidify that. So my focus right now is starting pitching. And as we talked about this not being MLB The Show, let's talk about some pitchers to not focus on. And the first couple of guys that we should not even be talking about the Sox trading for are divisional guys. And I say this because there's a divisional tax that is going to be added on to you also bidding against other teams. The Tigers, the Twins, and the Royals are going to be asking for more from you than what they're going to be asking for other teams because they're in your division. And let's not kid around and ask that they don't. The Tigers are going to ask for the world if the Sox ever asked about Skubal or Casey Mize. The Twins are not going to let the Sox just take Joe Ryan for nothing. So those are 3 guys that are high on other people's lists that outside of the Sox just bidding against other teams, we should just get it out of our mind for now, or not for now, forever, and focus on other guys. 2 pitchers that I did see the Sox possibly looking at, but we should move it back get it out of our mind, are Sonny Gray and Chapman with the Red Sox. And this is just about how great the Red Sox have been the last couple of weeks. They are fully in it. They're in a wild card spot right now. They've won 10 plus games straight. So Sonny Gray and Chapman, when we look at those options. So saying that with those 5 guys, who else is out there? Let's look at rental options. You get 2 months of a quality pitcher. You don't have to pay as much on some of these higher contracts. And just because it's a rental, you probably don't have to give up some of these high-level prospects that the Sox have built their farm system on, and they can trade from some of that strength that we talked about in the middle infielders. First one, Robbie Ray. He's making $25 million this season. He's a free agent after this year. A lefty starting pitcher. He could even out a playoff series. Veteran pitcher, still in a lot of innings. He knows how to pitch. Another one, Clay Holmes, the Mets. He's a player option for next season for only $12 million. Don't think you have to give up a lot to get him either. And one that is up and down. I don't see this as like a very viable option, but he is a free agent after this year, and just based on Toronto losing a series to the Sox and now being in last place in the AL East, Kevin Gausman could be made available. He's getting paid $23 million this year. That would be a viable, good starting pitcher to be one of your 4 guys to pitch in the playoffs. So right there, Robbie Ray, Clay Holmes, Kevin Gausman. Those are 3 guys I'm looking at that would be rentals, or as you saw with Clay Holmes, a player option for 2027 for only $12 million. That's within the Sox pay scale for what they want to pay. You're not going to be taking on 4 years more from a player making $25 to $30 million, which obviously would probably scare Jerry away. $12 million for next year is good. And Kevin Gausman has thrown a lot of valuable innings. So those are short-term viable options for the Sox. Controllable pitchers that the Sox could look at, I have 3. 2 are part of the Angels, Jose Soriano and Reed Detmers. This is a weird situation because they are the worst team in the AL. They should trade Jose Soriano and Reed Detmers. Each of them have 2 more years of control after 2026. But Art Moreno is a terrible owner. And I'm sorry, Angels fans. He has screwed you over and over. He doesn't care about winning. And he already had that debacle with not trading away Ohtani. If he had anything in his mind, he would okay a trade for Soriano and Detmers and actually help the Angels win games in the future. But he probably won't because he doesn't care about the fan base and he doesn't actually care about winning. But if the Angels were to make a deal, I feel like the Sox should be at least calling them and saying what it would take to get Soriano or Reed Detmers. I would probably lean more towards Detmers. And this is where we talked about Billy Carlson maybe helping the Sox improve their MLB team through him being part of a trade. He's a first-round pick. He's talented. He was just drafted last year. He's a high-level prospect. He's a top 100 prospect who could be sent to the Angels for one of these guys, and they're controllable for the next 2 years, and the Sox would have a quality starting pitcher going forward in the playoffs and next season. Another one is in division. Taking it back to the Tigers conversation, yes, I do think the Sox would probably have to give up a little bit more to get something from the Royals because the pitcher I'm talking about is Michael Wacha. He's making $14 million in 2027, so you have more control than this year, and there's a club option for $14 again in 2028. But he's in the later stages of his 30s. He's obviously not going to be a pitcher in early 30s or his 20s where you have to give up a bunch for a controllable pitcher. They could probably find some mid-level prospects in that 9 to 11 range that we were talking about earlier in their top 30. But he's a veteran arm. He's had ERA in the 3s since 2022, and he has a career ERA of 3.87. And more importantly, he's a veteran pitcher who can lead the staff and help Davis Martin and Sean Burke and Anthony Kay lead a staff going into the playoffs and the playoff push going forward. So let's just to review. These are 6 pitchers that I would love the Sox to look at, and it's some rental options of Robbie Ray, Clay Holmes, Kevin Gausman. Controllable options, Jose Soriano, Reed Detmers, and Michael Wacha. A lot of interest, a lot of wondering what the Angels are going to do there, because again, Art Moreno, you suck. And I feel bad for Angels fans. And that's coming from a Sox fan. And we have Jerry. So... week ahead, really, really big couple weeks. I put it on Threads. Sox have a bunch of road games coming up, including tough series. First one, going into Texas, and this could be a playoff. Weird saying this. This could be a playoff preview because Texas is leading in their division. Sox are leading in theirs. They could see each other in the first round of divisional playoffs. So Sox are in Texas Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday versus Rangers, and they come back home to Chicago Friday, Saturday, and Sunday versus the Astros. So thank you for keep watching because we do have the trade deadline coming a couple weeks away. This week we could get more chatter, some more movement, some early trades possibly. So follow me on Threads. You'll get all those updates, especially ones that pertain to the White Sox. And again, on Sox and Friends on Instagram. Appreciate you coming in. Have a good rest of the week.